afternoon again to the viewers of ProsTalk. ProsTalk is a professional discussion about all aspects of construction. And today, as our guest from last week, we have the innovative architect Amon Cali, who is actually championing the brutalist architecture in the Philippines and in Asia, and hopefully soon internationally. One of the very passionate projects of his is brutalist architecture for tiny houses. So, to discuss more of that today, welcome back, Architect Amon Cali.
Yeah, hi Nat. Thank you for having me back. It's
All
great.
right. Yeah, so the last conversation we had was really fantastic. I learned a lot personally. I did not realize that the folk arts theater is an example of a brutalist architecture, right? But every time you pass by Manila, the folk arts theater is still one of those iconic
Yeah,
landmarks in the Philippines that really celebrates architecture. So with that, um, can you walk us through the Peu Brut concept as you apply it in a home? Because the
yeah,
examples that we had last week is more big infrastructures, right? Like Focus Theater, Heart Center. How can you translate that massiveness
yeah,
into a home design?
yeah. That's a great question. So, yeah, I think um, developing the style of brutalism is there are a lot of elements that play into part. So, yeah, the main thing is you have to enable to create an emotion like it's like a sculpture that you could live in. So that is like one of my
I
philosophy.
like that. Sculpture you can live in. Okay.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, actually, a lot of my, especially my apprentices, are asking, are architects considered as artists? Well, actually, um, architect is the mother art. So it's like if we
Mm.
go back to history, like Le, how what's his name? Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo. They were artists, like they were great artists. And once they get the peak, what's next? They go into architecture. So it is like architecture is the mother art. And yeah, we are considered as artists because beauty, aesthetics. It's just we mix into science and construction. So yeah, that's that. And then yeah, so going back to the question,
Mhm.
applying brutalism in homes is a bit challenging because um yeah, you there are things that you have to simplify.
Uh-huh.
Things that are applicable in massive structures that cannot be applied with tiny houses. So that's uh, an evolving study. So and yeah,
Yeah, I think and it's actually what caught my attention, and I think people who will now see this
mm,
will be really interested to understand how you can achieve that same effect in terms of you pause and you look, wow, how did they do this, right? Because typically you can only do that if it's really huge. But
yeah,
um, I'm looking at some of your the design concept here, and I actually was very moved. Like, this is interesting. It does not have a pillar. It looks like it's a floating house, which is
yes,
fantastic.
yeah,
Can you walk us through this? This is really beautifully designed. But I guess people will ask, is that safe, or will it take just one earthquake to like make that whole thing go down?
yeah. Yeah, so I think one thing that makes a structure stable
Mhm.
is the number one thing is if you hire the right engineers to do it, because
Right.
us architects, yeah, we don't do it. Just to be clear. So yeah, number one is to hire the and during the process you are going to talk to your engineer like, is this going to be feasible? What do we have to do, the sacrifices and stuff? So yeah, and then the engineer will give you the right solutions in order to achieve this floating aesthetic. So if we run through the um Peu Brut, um yeah, we
Yes,
can see that if you look at the um right view or the side view of Peu
yes,
Brut, it has a cantilevered form. So
cantilever. Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
the footprint is so small and it goes up. Like the main living area is on the second floor.
Okay.
So yeah, in that way we create a sense of yeah, we make it float. You
Yes,
know, yeah,
yes, yes. And actually, that's what I think is very fascinating about this, right? Because from this angle, it almost looks impossible.
yes, yeah,
But you know what? I'd like to just jump on what you said, because one of the advocacies of ProsTalk, Amon Cali, is to really encourage the Filipinos in Asia, right, to seek professional advice.
yes,
Because a lot of people, they feel, oh, I saw that on the internet. Let me do that. You see, it doesn't work that way all the time, guys. So there's no such thing as a DIY, especially when you're spending your hard earned money to
yeah,
build a home for you and your family. It needs to be safe,
yeah,
right? So I think Architect Amon, so now looking at this, right? If like me, I'm a mom of three. How safe is this structure?
yeah. Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna run through. I mean, okay. I think I'm gonna run through the beginning first, like how did it
Sure,
started?
sure,
Okay. So yeah, it started last year. Like yeah, it was a concept that developed. Yeah, like what I said in the past episode is like I was in the I was in a state where I wanted to develop something new and something which is mine. So I started out with these tropical houses, the bamboo houses, and then I switched on and applied what I want, what is beautiful to me. Because yeah, at the end of the day, as a young professional, you should love what you're doing. I mean,
right.
you look for your own style, apply it, and enjoy the process. So yeah, so during that time I was yeah, I was drawn into these concrete houses, brutalism, and I talked to a consultant that um do you have examples of a brutalist tiny house, and she said there's no such thing. So it really triggered it created a fire in me that
Uh-huh.
oh, nobody has ever done this yet. So yeah, it developed. So the briefing in Peu Brut is like um if there is going to be another crisis, like crisis which is worse than what we had or what we have right
Hope
now.
not. I hope not. But
Yeah,
yes, just in case.
yeah. Will you be able to live for a week or two without going out of your property or your house? So that's one thing. So the I mean the concept that we want is it needs to be energy effective. You need to have like um solar panels, solar energy. You need to have off the grid electricity. You need to have water harvesting system, and you need to have an edible garden. Like
Of course.
yeah, yeah, for food. So just to cater all the needs. So that's what and then so having that the product is Peu Brut. So yeah, and then the initial, because I was researching on types of materials. I mean, because right now I am in the state that we shouldn't be settling on what we have. Like I know most of us still use hollow blocks or the conventional type of building, but I think this is the time where we have to start exploring new building materials. So during the concept, I came across a material called hempcrete.
Mm,
Yeah, so hempcrete is like a crushed hemp. mixed with hydraulic lime and water. So it is used for walls. But so I wanted to use that material for Peu Brut. Unfortunately, hemp is kind of illegal in our country, but it is already being used in certain parts of Europe and the US.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to look for another alternative until I came across M2 panels. It is a polystyrene wall with a steel matting. So if you can see, I mean, there's some photos that I can show you where
Yes.
we show the construction of the Brut, like how it is built up, the actual construction.
Uh-huh. So
So
this is not necessarily hollow blocks.
it's not, we used
Wow.
zero hollow blocks. I mean, yeah. So so we didn't we used zero hollow blocks on the structure, and we used M2 panels. M2 panels is one of the most right now is the most sustainable type of building material that I can see, especially in the Philippines, because um, it is lightweight, it is load bearing compared to hollow blocks, which um, does not carry any load. So it is load bearing, and it is faster to install.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so you could save a lot with this type of technology. Also in the long run, it's it has a good insulating property. So instead of having a wall system, and then you would have to apply insulations. For
Uh-huh.
this one, the wall system is the insulation. So imagine
That,
yourself being living inside of a cooler, like in a tropical country. And so yeah, you will have a cool interior without the need of air conditioner. And yeah,
that is fantastic to hear. So for the folks that are watching us, M2 panel, isn't it, Amon?
yeah,
Yeah,
panels, yeah,
M2 panel, right? So maybe this is why when you look at the structure, it's it's it looks strong, but it's not thick. It
yeah,
just
yeah.
looks slender actually. So this is interesting. So can you walk us through this? This is fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe I could show you guys the video
Uh-huh.
on Peu Brut. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, you can check this out on YouTube as well. So yeah, yeah, so it is a brutalist tiny house. The ground floor. So at this, I mean, yeah, so actually the Brut is inspired, also in a way it is also inspired from a bahay kubo in a way, because you have the living unit elevated, and you have the ground floor open for indoor outdoor activities. So we have the ground floor for, you can do it as a parking slot or a lanai. And then when you go up, that is where the main living space is. So
Right.
we would have mm, yeah.
It's
So
actually it's actually beautiful. So the materials here, this is an M2 panel, right?
yeah, yes.
The walls. But what about the flooring?
Yeah, the flooring is it is also M2 panel. It's like a hybrid of M2 panels and conventional system. It's so yeah, so the second floor is M2 panels, and then we have to install um a specific thickness of rebar in order to support the structure. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. This is really nice. So for those who are watching, if you look at this, right, the second floor space, which is your kitchen and living area, it's a
yeah,
seamless transition, and it's really beautiful and elegant, Amon, right?
yes.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
then how do you get to the bedroom?
Yeah, so going to the bedroom, it's we call it the sleeping loft, because it's not really enclosed.
Sleeping loft. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you would you would have to access it through the series of steps, a cabinets which is designed as a steps going up to the sleeping loft.
Very
So
smart. Okay.
and then yeah, so if you can see the sleeping loaf, by the way, all of the windows can be opened. Like even the big window in the front facade, it can be opened using with a hydraulic system that
Oh,
our glass supplier advised. So yeah, imagine all of the windows are opened and the cross ventilation is so good. The insulation it's cool inside. So you really yeah in during December or the cool seasons you really won't need any air conditioning system for this.
right. That's fantastic. And that entire glass window through hydraulics will open.
Yes, yeah, just by a push of a button, it will open.
That's fantastic. That's great to know. So does that mean when you say all the windows, does it include the one on the bed?
Yes, yes, exactly. So it's a skylight. Yeah, because the basic, also the basic, applying the basic principles of tropical architecture is hot air goes up. So you want to have high windows that can be opened so that the hot air has a point where they could go.
Exit.
Yeah, exit. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. And then this is really nice. I was really surprised by this because how did you fit in this toilet and bath that's gorgeous?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. One of the thing is, um, how do you? I mean, picking the right fixture. So, one of the space-saving types of fixtures, it is more expensive, but it saves a good amount of space. So, it is a it's a wall hung type of toilet that instead
Yes.
of having the flush tank outside, it is embedded within the wall system. So you push the toilet back. You have a bit more space, and
Right.
then having the toilet and bath as open as possible. So if we can see at the back part of it, um, it has if I could yeah if we could show the photo of the bathroom, yeah. So
Yes.
the along the shower, we have a huge opening that creates that doesn't feel claustrophobic. One thing of designing small spaces is you should eliminate the feeling of being
Tightness.
claustrophobic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So
tightness. Yeah.
one solution is to bring in natural light.
Yeah, and we can see that here. You know what fascinates me and amazes me by your design? It's brilliant. Not many people think about this, right? The shower area opens up, but you've put
Yeah,
some greenery in there to block
yeah,
unnecessary uh, viewing access, right?
exactly.
Which
Yeah,
is fantastic. But
yeah,
if you're using it, it gives you that ample amount of space, even when though even though it's really small, it
yes,
doesn't feel small at all.
yeah. So yeah, maybe most of the I mean um it's kind of a liberated type of approach into design because of course it's not for everyone. Like a lot of people might feel ashamed when they take a shower in this bathroom. But yeah, so yeah, creating this type of shower is like you are bathing with nature in a way. Yeah, you
Yes,
are
yes,
bathing with nature that um yeah, you feel the I mean you could open it and you could feel that you're just beside nature.
right.
Yeah,
But I think the greenery that is intentionally placed there
yeah,
blocks off, it still gives you that privacy, but it
yes,
gives you that
that,
natural light, that openness, the feeling of relaxation the moment you step in. So it's actually brilliant the way it's designed. I mean, I'm very conservative, but because of the greenery that blocks it, you
mm,
know, I think you should be relaxed in that kind of environment, showering. So
Yeah,
it's really brilliant. My question to you, Amon, is from a maintenance standpoint, right? Because this is like a built-in toilet.
yeah,
You know, if something needs to be fixed, does that
yeah.
mean you have to tear down the wall?
Um, Not really. I mean, for this type of structure, you need to be sure. One disadvantage of working with M2 panels is you need to be sure with the internal stuff like the electrical, the pipes, because once it's done, it's really hard to like open up the wall again. So
Right.
at this
Okay.
moment, you need to be sure with the plumbers that are working with you. So for us, we
Right.
have a team that really um, works with this. So yeah,
Right, right. No, but it's beautiful to look at. And I think that's precisely the reason why I think people who will be interested to explore this type of construction and architecture would need to understand, because again, typically in the US it's a drywall,
yeah,
right? In the Philippines it's hollow blocks. I
yeah.
mean, every country would have a preference towards something, right? To me, I really don't understand drywall, but in the
Mhm.
US, that's the preferred
Yes, yes,
construction, right? Approach. Um, but here, I mean, it's aesthetically beautiful. But to your point, to those that are interested to go this route, you need to be very meticulous with
yes, yeah,
who you pick as your electrical engineer and your plumbing system, because once it's there, right? It's an M2
yeah,
wall.
yep.
It can
It's
be torn
harder.
down, but it's expensive. It's the only drawback, right? Because
And
of course you can.
it's harder because yeah, it has a lot of like steel matting because the polystyrene is sandwiched with steel matting, so it's really these are just thin steel, but it really holds up the structure, so it's kind of harder, um not like hollow blocks that you could just like easily um tore it down if there are some stuff. But at for M2 panels, it's harder to
Right.
clean it up. Yeah.
But that's good to understand, Amon Kali. And I think for those that are watching, I know this is like a mouthful, very technical, but at the same time, you see the blend of science with art. And this
Yeah.
is why it's possible to achieve that floating look, is
Yeah.
precisely because of the science in the construction materials that have been used. So it's
Yeah.
sturdy, it's durable, right? It's safe. Of course, though, right? Up front, you need to be precise.
Yep.
You need to be like so down with this is where you need things to be, because once it's done, you can
Yeah.
just flip things around.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. All
We have
right.
a thing in architecture called measure three times and cut once. So yeah, like you have to be really sure of the details before you get into it. So yeah. Also, like I just want to talk about the bathroom. I want to go back to the bathroom.
Sure. Sure.
Um, if you can see the lavatory and its design. Actually, we designed it. The team designed it. It is the material that we want to use is recycled plastic. Um, so
Interesting.
yeah, right now, of course, we're having a hard time trying to find the right supplier who we could collaborate. But we already see these um outside the country, like um yeah, if we could just partner with, like for example, all the um instead of using ceramic ceramic fixtures, and we could substitute that with recycled plastic, then we are creating some we're going one step forward with the design technology and the construction technology, because yeah, we're using trash as a as something usable and elegant. So yeah, that's something also. If there are suppliers watching with a recycled plastic, I am happy to collaborate with you guys.
All right. And actually, this is great, really, Amon. I see so much passion coming through with your work. And to those that are, passionate about building their first house, the best decision you'll ever make is to choose the right architect.
Definitely.
So if you are as passionate as Amon Kali, please reach out to him, because you see the way you play with the science, the art, and now even an element of environment, right?
Yeah.
It's really fantastic. So I can really say that you're one of the most innovative architect I've interviewed on this stuff. No,
Oh,
'cause this is fantastic, right? It shows the future, a very hopeful future for architecture in the Philippines and of course abroad. There are
yeah.
so many Filipinos abroad right now that are working hard, right? Wanting to build something for their families here. So to those that are watching us from various parts of the world, wherever you are, reach out to Amon and Cali so that that hard-earned money is well spent. So with
Yeah.
that, because we're running out of time, um, we
Yeah.
have another episode with architect Amon Cali, and there we will talk about the actual works. The concept is Peu Brut, but it would be good for the audience to see what is the extent of a brutalist house. How would that really look like? So the one that we've seen here is very tiny, right? Good for starter families or a couple, right?
Yeah.
But people will now ask, what if I'm interested and I have a family of five? How does that
Yes.
look like? So our next episode will talk about all of the works of Cali Architects.
Yeah.
And with that, Architect Aman Ali, Cali, can you just quickly invite them to your social media page so that they can take a look?
Yeah. Just search Cali Architects on Google, and you'll find us.
All right, there you go. And again,
Yeah.
thank you, Aman Cali. I'll see you again next week.